Heyo, Water Wizard. First in the house, it looks like. How's everybody doing today? We'll wait for a couple people to stream in, and then we'll get down to business. If anybody has any questions, as per usual, ask away. So, I've been working on a couple tanks pretty heavily. My graphic design job has been, I've been working at basically from home. I've been working, and sometimes I'll get an email and I'm waiting an hour or two to see if they like the revision, and so I'm just working on fish tanks. So it's been pretty good actually for this and for doing some research for future episodes. So that's fun. It looks like people are trickling in. Welcome, welcome everybody as you filter in. Let's see, Insightful One Fish Keeping, welcome. I don't know if I've seen you in the chats before, but welcome to the channel. Megan Killer 447, hi. So basically, I'm down to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. The orcas, yeah, they have nice round bellies. So since I updated last about talking about the Tatia musaica, which is the ninja. Oh, and my obligatory plug. I'm hoping they'll send me some eventually, like a can. I'd be happy with a can of Dr. Pepper. Ew, there's something on that Dr. Pepper. That's why you don't clean fish tanks and drink stuff next to one another. So I'll show you guys updates on fish tanks. I've had to reshuffle stuff around. But as always, you guys are the reason I do the live streams. And so any questions you have, any thoughts, just chatting. It's like, I can't hang out with people in Illinois or in Dunblane or in whatever, some random place, Munich. So I like to do these live things a few times a week and chat with the folks who want to chat, and sometimes at different times because, not everyone can get in on the same time. But I want to show you guys the mini orcas. And as I was saying, so they're known as Tatia musaica is their Latin name. But that's not what I have. So after posting the video last night, I was also humbled in that I learned, yeah, where are the shrimp? Let's get to them. All right, we'll go down there. I'll show you this real quick because I've had to, hold on, you guys don't need to look at me. But in here, we've reshuffled some fish. So there's more endlers back up here, even though I had planned it to be mostly cyprinids, which are the meadow minnows or white cloud minnows, whatever you want to call them, and the CPDs, as well as the erythromicron danios. So, and plecos. But I added a couple catfish, cories, some unusual cories and stuff. And so this tank today, I've noticed, and an SAE, but when I step back from it, like almost instantly, it is more active and the little fish will come out. It is jam-packed with fish. So this tank, since I'm doing water changes every other day anyways, since it's still, only a month and a half old and the aqua soil has quite a bit of ammonia in it, and not that it keeps it down, but yeah. So Harrison Lucas, I will talk to you about the killer whale fish in just a moment. We'll head down there right now. So basically, I thought I had Tatia musaica. A fella in Germany said, by the way, they have been bred in captivity. And I was like, oh, this is news to me. I hadn't seen any of that or heard any of that. And right now, I'll show you what their tank's set up like. And I decided to do this live cast because there's natural light on them. And I think that's going to be key. Yep. They are scared of the artificial light, but the natural light, I can actually get them in the frame. So this guy is a skinny one, and we can get him to move in a sec. If I just shift this, you'll see. He might go spastic, though. They kind of freak out. But they've got a white belly, as you can kind of see. Sorry, he's in like a glary spot. They have a white belly, and he is not, like, I'm worried about him, but then I talked to some other people who have them, and they're like, oh no, they're just kind of weird, sluggish fish, and then they go spastic because they're nocturnal, so they're like set up to be that way. Here, let's get him to turn around. There you go. So you can see his eye, right? And you can see the size of his mouth. Can you guys see that? Hold on, let's get rid of some of this glare. Well, now you just see my hand. There we go. So, come on. Live stream focus is the worst. They really need to work on what they allow your phone or your computer or camera to do live. So basically here you can see he doesn't have ick or anything. It's dust from burrowing because he's been burrowing in the fresh water, and they breathe pretty heavy. But you can see on that top fin, that's a spine. I found that out yesterday. I don't know, it may be mildly venomous because it swelled up huge in my hand after it got me. This is the skinny little one, and I don't know if they do that because like one's an alpha male or it's younger. There's simply not good info on these guys. But in this corner, pardon if it's a little dark, but it should be less glaring. Also, I have two power heads running, but I'm gonna try to disturb them just to show you guys, get it out of the way early on in owning them, and then I can let them forever hold their peace. But now I'm kind of afraid of them because that spike friggin' hurt. Okay, there's one back here. He's gonna come out this side, and here we go. He'll come over here. Oh, maybe not. Where's he going? Oh. So here, you're getting to see them moving rapidly. This is what most of them look like. Fat little bellies. And, oh, perfect. You hide right there. You're totally hidden, buddy. See, this guy is, I don't know what's wrong with him. No super chat. I do not qualify for the super chat because basically YouTube is backlogged. And since February, I should have been eligible. And I am not because they haven't gotten through their backlog since they started banning channels and looking at content closer. There you go. There's a perfect view. So usually on the dorsal fin of these guys, they have a white spot when they're a ninja cat. This guy is not a ninja cat. He is one of the unnamed species. Because the ninja cats look very, very similar, but they have a taller dorsal fin. They have a white spot up top here and right here. He does not, and he has blue eyes, and also this blue to pink iridescence that shimmers along the edges of the white. So I haven't looked at others close enough, but look at this guy. What is he doing? He's like literally sucked onto the power head. And I don't think he's definitely not stuck. Oh, you guys just missed it. But he burrowed that quick. In a half a second, he burrowed into the sand. These guys can burrow through this thick gravel on this side like it's nothing. It's crazy. So he's not stuck. This guy's not stuck to the power head by any means. He just thinks that's a relaxing place to be, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. But they have plenty of hiding spots in this tank. I'm trying to get the pH lower as we speak. So I've got 8 catappa leaves in there, dropping the pH. These guys also have kind of an interesting story in that they are said to be from, hold on, let's see. There we go. I didn't know what was going on with my chats. Now I can see what you guys are saying. But yeah, so these guys are said to be from, and you see how quick he's breathing? That really bugs me. Even though this water is so oxygenated, I mean, maybe they just do that, but I don't think he's doing well, and I'm medicating the whole tank. But they did just fly here yesterday from Colombia, and basically Venezuela and Brazil have kind of put a stop to the catfish imports, and so, and to a lot of imports. And Venezuela, we don't really trade with much, in a lot of ways because of, I guess, socialism. I don't know, because Hugo Chavez was a nutcase. Whatever. But all these fish have been being brought out from Colombia, but when you look at naturalist journals and things, it seems like they don't exist in Colombia. So there's probably some pun intended fishiness going on with that. They're probably being caught kind of illegally and then brought out. So right now, got lots of pipes, lots of ledges, sand, fine sand, coarse sand, gravel. I'm kind of giving them everything that they could want. And then seeing where they hang out, and then I'll go with more of that. You can see the water's turning into tea compared to even like a shrimp tank water, to their water, to clean water. Clean water, you can see the wall's actually white, whereas here it looks like the wall, it might be, I don't know, yellow or something. There's still guppy young in here, or Endler young in here, and I want to get them out, but it's been a challenge to catch them right now. And also, I wanted to show you if it's still around. It looks like they may have eaten it, but they ate a bunch of my shrimp last night. And that's fine. These were the coal shrimp, like the ones with weak coloring or some sort of malfunction genetically or something like that. But while I thought they did nothing, they were out murdering. So, and then I came in the middle of the night just to look at them, and they were literally darting up to the top of the tank, down to the bottom, as fast as they can. Like, faster than any fish, like faster than a Siamese algae eater can go at its full speed. They are like laser quick, and they can pick a spot and go there. I mean, they're used to living in rivers that are highly changeable. Down the wormhole, welcome. So the other thing I wanted to show you with the natural sunlight, why I wanted to do the stream now, was, can you see the blue in that eye when the sun's right on it at all? Can you guys pick that up? There's this weird, right, let's get it from the right angle if I can catch it for you guys. There, HC Aquatic, welcome. So right here, the eye is right here. And if you get it from the right angle, it reflects exactly like a cat's eye with this natural sunlight. And it definitely, yeah, if you saw it earlier, that's fine. But it has, oh, here, maybe you can see it here. It has, there you go. You can, if we get the sunlight angle right, it has, I'm trying to remember the name of the little filament thing. It's like a thin layer of skin that's reflective in the back of their eye, and it allows them to see in the daylight. And you can see here that the white, hold on, let's get rid of some of the smudginess. The white in the sunlight is actually like a pearly iridescent blue compared to there is some true white on them, which is up by the fins, and it looks pinkish just because of blood flow. Hey, what's up, D. Smith? I used to have honeycomb woodcats. Yeah, so these guys are similar genetically, but they live in a very different niche inside the river, but they're very similar in genetically. Heather Nielsen, hello. Welcome, Scarlet Aquatics. Check out her channel, by the way. So these woodcats, yeah, you guys saw if you were here earlier, you got to see the good view. There's another one. There's 3 in here. They like to have 5 or 6 of them in a group, so I'm going to try to get more, but I have no money. And I got these ones in a way that most people would not be able to, which is like straight off the plane, from a wholesaler price, even though I bought 3. I really lucked out with a friend who owns a fish store. So we'll look at the shrimp for a little bit, just because, like, I think you guys get the point of, like, ta-da, this is it hanging out. This one's so skinny that I was glad you guys got to catch a peek. If you roll back, you can see them again. Also in here, I've got killifish. These ones are from Africa, and they're clown killies. Annulatus, I think, is their Latin name. But they have actually given birth to some fry in this tank, so I'm leaving them for now. And they hang out at the very top, and so there's a tangle of, come on, light. There's a tangle of weeds and wisteria and other stuff that allows them to hide. So let's look at the tanks where you can see what's going on. So Blue Dreams. I think I saw a question about Blue Dreams. Randy, welcome. The Blue Dreams. Blah 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 blah. Is avocado leaf good for shrimps? I don't know about avocado. I know mulberry. I know maple, oak, alder. All of those are fine. Anything that doesn't have a strong aromatic smell, like obviously it's not a leaf really, but cedar would be terrible. Any oily plant would be bad. Juniper, that would be awful. So anything that doesn't smell real strong is usually okay, but you want to wait for the leaves to fall and naturally lose their chlorophyll. If you don't do that, then there's all sorts of essences of things and molecules and compounds and enzymes that cause issues with the water. And some might be benign, but others might not. Adrian asks, what's the average price for a Blue Dream? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but let's take a look at some of these Blue Dreams. And we can move stuff around in this tank too. These guys are bulletproof. So, essentially, I've probably got 15 or 20 Blue Dreams in here right now. These are all from Lucas Bretz. For this Blue Dream here, this male, you might pay at a normal store, you might pay $7 or $8 for it at a fish store. But these are actually from Lucas Brett's line, LRB Aquatics. You can check his channel out if you haven't already. You probably have. And this is his world's bluest line, most consistent line of blue shrimp in the world. So you can see what most of them look like, but the male in sunlight happens to just not be really colored up. And this is another male, and you can see how blue it is. It's got blue legs, it's got blue antenna even. And so these guys go for anywhere from, well, he never has them available to the public anymore because there's such a wait list. But they've been going for like 10 to, or on his site, I think there's $7 or $8. But in the public, they've been going for like $10 to $15. Because their genetics, they just don't throw. You don't have to worry about culling. I mean, you can, and you should, but they're so blue that it's not really a problem. Like, that's the least blue you're going to get right there is a male. And he's the weakest one. Like, I might cull him in theory. But he still has all the genetics to make these beautiful royal blue guys and stuff. So, yeah. There was another question about... oh, okay. I see a few questions. Sorry, guys. I'm just catching up. Yeah, Lucas's shrimp are amazing. These are Lucas's world champion red shrimp over here. And there's a yellow one in here too. The yellow are friggin' unbelievable. I don't know where he started his line from. I'll have to ask him. I'm working on a project with him still. But these guys have just reproduced like crazy. These cherry shrimps and the yellows. I'm not keeping them together, by the way. There just happens to be one yellow and one green jade in this tank. And that is for their pregnant females in tanks that have fish normally. And so I let them give birth, and then I get all the babies out. Once they're about, actually a little bit larger than these guys. So they're still really small and really far from being able to mate. But that's just my style. You could lose one and accidentally, like, contaminate your line, in theory. But it's not like I'm trying to pawn off Lucas's signature line as my own. So, I'm not worried about that. I just want to have colonies, and if people casually want some colonies, they can always buy them from me. But these red shrimp, I think they're going for $7 on his site, but they're never available. So I got a hookup because he is now a friend of mine. Yeah, exactly. So HC Aqua, I let my yellow buried female release in a red tank also. So another thing is that the yellows come from a line that was originally red, so it goes orange, like down selective breeding, and maybe crossed in with some of the Cantonese zingensis, or however you pronounce it. So if you put yellow, orange, red together, they still can cross back to wild frequently, but they also, like a yellow frequently, if it breeds with a red, will cross back to orange or to a red. Also, the green is the one that shouldn't be in here really, but she is super buried and she doesn't aerate her eggs at all, which kind of worries me. But she's super buried up. Oh, there she goes. Maybe she's gonna start aerating her eggs. Maybe she's a slow learner. Um, so yeah, but basically these green jades I got from Aquatic Arts. I kept them on their own for a little bit, and then I introduced them. They've got yellow legs, a yellow stripe on their back just when they're pregnant, and then they go back to forest green. So it's kind of interesting. And if you want to get these same jade shrimp, you can get them at aquaticarts.com, and you can use the promo code history with a capital H and then the number 10. And so from me, I talked to them and they're like, "Oh, we'll send you some stuff. What do you want?" And I was like, "Well, my rule on my channel is I'll show your stuff. I'll give an honest opinion, and these are beautiful. I don't know where they sourced them from, but they're beautiful." Lucas has informed me that they don't get QT'd probably. I don't know if that's. I haven't talked to them, but they don't advertise being QT'd. Although these ones have been around long enough in his tank trying to replenish numbers that I think they were and are, because he orders in internationally, just like Flip, just like a lot of people, and then instead of trying to order in internationally, what he does is he tries to breed like half of them, and then he'll order more if need be if sales are good. But yeah, use that code history10 if you want to try out these green jades. Let me show you the other ones when they're not pregnant, because they're really something else too. So they're in their own little box, unfortunately, until I juggle some tanks around. And they are like the truest forest green you have ever seen in a shrimp. So let's try to get that to focus. Come on, where are you guys? Oh, there they are. So if I dry them out for just a sec, like landlock them for just a sec, you'll see that they're such a deep forest green. Whoa, stop flipping out. Literally flipping out. They have a really, really nice green color. That's the color of the Marimo moss ball. No translusiveness to them. They're just a stark green, really nice looking shrimp. And so they're kind of hanging out in this little pen, unfortunately, for now. There's no shrimp up in this tank because it's my Pleco catfish and then my Japanese Endler project tank. So how often should we water change a shrimp tank? Like a 5-gallon? So this is a 5-gallon down here. This 5-gallon is... I try not to change water in it a ton. Like right now is a good time for a water change because this much is evaporated. It's been 70 or 80 degrees in Seattle. And basically I do like a 10% if I can, if I'm up on it. No more than 20% water change. And I like to use RO water, or even just like go to Walgreens and get like whatever, $1 a thing of their distilled water. And by the way, they're purified and they're distilled are the same water. Like literally I tested it all. Here's a baby yellow, by the way. Woo! So there's a little yellow sakura, and it's eating a little paramecium, which is interesting. But yeah, I would recommend doing small water changes once every week or two. Basically top-offs, if you can get away with that. This tank is a little funky because I'm not so worried about breeding the Caridina that are here, like the blue bolt and the pandas. Like this is a panda here. It's not a crystal red. And then there's black King Kongs and black pandas from Flip Aquatics. And by the way, yeah, let me explain how I have the Neos and the Caridinas together. So basically, you're going to have to adjust life for the Caridina. Cherry shrimp have become so hardy, and a lot of the other colors too. The jade are one that is not, I've found. But the Caridinas will not breed well. That's true. And to do your Caridinas breeding well, it should be more like this tank. So this tank has a ton of like Brightwell substrate. It has a lot of tannins, and it has a lot of biofilm, but the TDS in it is, I don't know, maybe 100 at most. And over here, the TDS is like almost 200, 150, and that's pushing it for Caridina. But they're getting by. Seattle has 28 TDS in tap water naturally. And so if you put your pH, if you can put that around 6.5 to 7, your Caridina will survive. They may not thrive, but they'll survive. And so in here, basically, I've got my red cherries have been so buried up from Lucas that, like right now, there's another buried one back here. And then I had one buried one that died, and I don't know what her issue was, but she just passed away, like, after being buried up for 2 weeks. She passed away. But this little 5-gallon is great, except for you really have to watch water parameters and get used to it and know how to take care of a tank. No sudden changes for sure. You have to get enough water movement in the tank, I would suggest, and then watch for planaria and hydras and stuff like that. So basically this tank, everything is modular. I can move everything around, and mostly I feed them up front, and so the mess is all right here. Oh, so Mac says he's getting some crystal reds tomorrow. My pH is 7.2. Is that okay? It's okay. It depends on where you're getting them from. But basically, for me, I've got crystal reds in here. And let's move some stuff around. I don't know. Everyone's hiding because the sun is peeking through the shades. So there's a crystal red. And they seem to be doing great. I haven't lost a single one in a month and a half of having them, or a month of having them now in this tank. And I've kept them before, and they'll last like 3 to 6 months and then pass away. Like, that's common if you don't have the right parameters. It's just they just kind of gradually die, and that's kind of what would happen. But as long as you don't shock them in that first day, they're going to live after the first day or two. If they're doing okay, they'll live. And so, yeah, I would say that they're fine at 7.0, but ideally I'd put some driftwood, Malaysian driftwood or something like that in there, and just try to get that pH to like just somewhere in the 6s, like 6.8 or something like that. This was at 7.2 when I got them because it had been my Neocaridina Blue Dream tank. And like right here, here's another beautiful buried Lucas Bretz Caridina or Neocaridina. And yeah, so I'd bring that pH down just a tad, just like add some wood or some bog, sphagnum moss or something like that. And I think you'll be good. Some peat would work too. Also, I even have blue bolts in here who are a little more sensitive, but I tried it out. I put 2 in here just to see how they do. But the TDS is relatively low. In this tank, there's no crushed coral or anything. This tank was so low, intended to be just a Caridina tank until I got all these reds that started getting pregnant, that basically I added crushed coral, which you can see here, a very small amount, and that jacked up the TDS, and you can see all the leaves and stuff too. That jacked up the TDS a lot. surprisingly. Just this little bit of crushed coral this is Brightwell soil, but that crushed coral skyrocketed the TDS from, I want to say it was down to like 81 or something like that, and it took it up to like almost 200. Do I have a Discord channel? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. What does that mean? Maybe I'm out of the loop. The other thing is I've been doing this thing that a couple breeders like time speak. I don't know what that is either, man. I'm out of the loop. Maybe I'm missing out on something. I'm sorry. Pardon my ignorance, but if you can explain, or if someone can help articulate what that means, maybe my dummy brain can figure it out. But yeah, I take Tupperware. Oh, like Skype. Yeah, I do. I totally do. Yes. And also, you can see this crystal red. Well, he was just doing it. Was doing the flexing of their back. Oh yeah, Gareth. Hello, welcome. People to join voice chat or just regular chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I need to look into this more. I really only started doing the YouTube end of the channel or end of the hobby like in January, pretty much. And so now, like, the fact that, like, someone asked about super chats, I wish I could get them. YouTube is taking forever. They freaked out on all the gun videos, and they just, like, took down anything with the word gun or bomb. Even, like, this is, like, some bomb stuff, or my joke bombed. Like, they took down all these videos, like, millions and millions of videos. And then everyone had to fight to get their videos back on if they were, like, within the realm of, like, they should have not been taken down. And some of them were big channels, and so yeah, but here you can see kind of the array of the different color blues that Lucas's line throws out. But in any case, while they were doing that, they still haven't settled the fact that I've had enough views, and they have run ads on my oh, Garrett, thanks, man. Are you over in Europe or the UK or something? 3 a.m. Let me try to think. Or are you in Australia? No, that's probably Germany. Where are you, Gareth? Ireland. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Well, oh, and here's another buried female from Lucas's Blue Dreams. I'll be selling these baby Blue Dreams, definitely. I want to get a colony of about 50, and I'm going to have 2 tanks of them. A CYA, a cover your you-know-what tank, is always a good idea when you start getting into some serious numbers of shrimp and stuff, and some expensive shrimp. Flip Aquatics, by the way, I wanted to thank them again because Rob gave me $150 to spend on his site. And so I spent that plus my own money, and I ended up getting these King Kong Reds, which are really hard to tell apart from the red cherry shrimp. Like the King Kong, that's a King Kong Red there. They're basically just a lot fatter, and they've got broader shoulders, the females, which is kind of funny and ironic, unlike humans. And then also, here is a sign that this tank is still a little bit low TDS for Neocaridinas. And you can see that white streaking and striping. So if this guy doesn't molt within, or gal, let's see, is it a guy or a gal? Guy. Doesn't molt within a day or two, it means that there's some calcium lacking. But when you look around and you see the other ones all look pretty red, that, you know, they all look solid red, that's probably fine. It's probably not calcium that's the issue. The other thing is I will take snails, and a lot of people don't like snails, but like I let the shells, like when they die, I will take a shell and put the shells in the tank too, just to kind of boost that calcium and hardness, because here I have like no hardness, none at all. I just wanted to show you guys one more time how you can see outside what's going on, but how yellow this tank is, even just a day or two into me adding the catappa leaves. So also, if you weren't here earlier, I wanted to answer your local fish store told me to get C-Chem neutralizer. Our pH is 8.5 and TS 325. Can Neos? Whoa, that is intense. Damien, man, I would say, I would. I mean, yeah, C-Chem neutralize works, but you got to keep adding it. It wears off after a while, I believe. Basically, you can add things like you can add stuff like I'm trying to think what else would work, like anything acidic like citric acid or something like that, or something basic like baking soda, but those things are very 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 touchy, and so they're not consistent. Like one lime juice or lemon juice wouldn't work. I would suggest, yeah, as Eric B just said, like Rodi water, RODI water, which is just distilled basically, back, like it's boiled off kind of and then put back together. But I would say that is, I would probably, one, either turn your tanks into tea like this. The TDS isn't the problem, honestly. For if you're keeping cherry shrimp, they're okay with 325 or whatever. I've had them up to 500 TDS just to see how they do, and Neocaridina are fine. Caridina will be dead in no time in those settings, but for cherry shrimp, you're fine there. That pH is high though. If you can get it under 8.0, you'll be okay. So I would simply add Malaysian driftwood or a bunch of catappa leaf, something like that. I stray away from the chemicals because a lot of them, once you start adding chemicals, a lot of them wear off, and then it's just like, oh, it doesn't work anymore, and now my numbers are somewhere in between where they're supposed to be and where I want them to be and where they started. And let me look at the chat. Sorry, the chat keeps disappearing on me. But Walmart RO water is 6.5 pH. Get that and do a 50-50 change. Yeah, if you have a Walmart, I mean, I guess you could do that. A lot of local fish stores also sell it. By the way, while I see them, these are mini baby rocket killifish. And if you could see them, they have blue eyes, if you could make that out. Whereas the Endler babies over here, which are quite a bit bigger, even though they're the same age, have that fatter belly. Come on, focus. There's too much going on with the glare and like how crappy this video system is. Paragard with shrimp. I don't know personally. I would do some research online on that one. Also, here are my Laconia cribs. You can see the females are starting to get to the age where they're getting really colorful. The males are boring. So that's how I'll know which pair is going to be breeding. I love rocket killies. They will eat their babies, by the way. In this tank, my trick, and this is a good... Mac, you just asked how much money I make selling shrimp. Not enough at all. Doesn't sustain this hobby at all. Yeah, not enough whatsoever. But it does pay for the shrimp care themselves. I make $1.50 off of each shrimp that I sell, and I sell my culls, and then I try to sell my good shrimp through the club in Seattle to like other shrimp keepers and things like that. And here's a random rainbow fish. So I had rainbow fish months back, and basically they laid eggs, and some were dormant for a really long time, and this one somehow came in on some of the stuff and survived. It came in on a hornwort, I think, and survived, and it's just grown up now, and so it's kind of like thinks it's an endler. It's funny. He just chills with the endlers, and he doesn't know he or she, this is a neon dwarf rainbow fish female, doesn't know that she's different, which is funny. Fish do that a lot. But in this tank, let me give you another little tip while we're on this tank. So these ruby tetras, I love them. They're not common in the hobby, at least over here in Seattle, but they're awesome in that they're whenever there's a water issue, TDS, pH, ammonia, anything, their colors go really pale. And it happens like overnight, or I mean, in a few seconds. Like you'll notice it in the morning if something changed. And every time they go pale, like any paler than this, like they're a little pale right now just because the sun's so bright on them that they don't look as bright as at nighttime. But if they got any more pale than that, you would say like, uh-oh, and then I check the parameters, always something off when my ruby tetras aren't ruby. So they're a great teeny little fish that I love, that are my little indicators. They're my water test strips, honestly. I don't even worry about running test strips unless they have an issue. This tank is due for a water change tonight after the cast. You can also see I've crossed my blue Japanese endlers here. You can see that leopard print in their tail. That's crossed with my, which are also Lucas. Originally these were tiger endlers, but I have been breeding them to be blue, come on, focus guys, to be blue spade tail endlers. And so they're crossed in, and now I've got that going on. Ruby tetras, this is how big they get. They're not even an inch long. They're real spastic in their movement. They usually move and then twitch and smell and like sense, and then they move, and then they stop, and then they move. But yeah, this guy is not even an inch long. Maybe exactly an inch long, but probably not. And you can see that movement is really robotic. It's like they're doing the robot all the time. But there's 5 in here, and they usually do hide. They're pretty shy, but they get less shy if you have more of them, and if you have fry, like I've got fry in here of other kinds, and they come out more because of that. Also, I wanted to show you my deform. This is what happens when you don't have enough calcium in your water. So now there's lots of crushed coral in this tank, but she's had a problem forever with her spine, and I let her live because she seemed to be getting around okay. And I don't know if fish are in pain or whatever, but she didn't seem like she was in pain. She wasn't like curled in the corner panting all the time or anything, but she gives me more fry than any of them. Is it like a rummy nose? It's way smaller than a rummy nose tetra. It's like a neon blue tetra or a neon green tetra if it was taller. Like if you stack 2 on top of each other. That's kind of about the size. They're not even as big as neon tetras, honestly. They're smaller than that lengthwise. I'm trying to think, do I have a ruler handy? I mean, let me find an object that you guys can all relate to. Here's a credit card. So, credit card, and of course it moves. Credit card, and the size of it's back there a little ways, but you can see it's teeny. This actually, he's pretty close to the glass right now, but teeny compared to a credit card. So, yeah. The smaller than guppies and stuff for sure. Love them. They're not really hyped up in the hobby, but they're beautiful. Erythromicrons, that's the other one that I really love in the hobby that isn't hyped. It down here, oh, let's see if we can catch this guy. Is a straggler that, oh, I don't think I'm gonna get it. There is a straggler hanging on. One of the adult cribs is in here still. And I want to get it out from the catfish because this tank is basically going all low pH, low TDS. It's going down for the catfish. So, and it's just got some funky, it's going to have some funky parameters compared to everything else that's like Amazonian or African that I keep. But yeah, these Japanese blues have turned out real pretty. Also, by the way, people have mentioned the fact that there's no super chat, and I really appreciate my Patreon supporters for that reason. Even if people are like, yo, here's $1, and then they quit after they sign up for Patreon, there's links to my Patreon all throughout a lot of my videos in the descriptions. And then there's also, like, my email is alexanderjwilliamson@gmail.com. And people have PayPal given me like $2 too, which that's fine. I mean, PayPal takes a little cut, or Venmo. You can message. There's ways to get a hold of me if you really feel strongly about it, and I really appreciate that because that lets me do stuff like get live bloodworms so that I could feed these fish. I got these fish, I'll disclose it. I got them for $20 a piece, and for me that was all my fish spending money for the month, was about $60 is what I was going to spend. And these Tatia woodcats, I think now that we've got a good amount of people watching again, I think I'll probably show off the catfish one more time, and then I will leave them alone. But I want folks who are watching now and click the description to kind of see what's up. And plus, I'm still learning how these guys do their thing. And so basically, oh, there were two under there. Okay. All right. But it's going to spaz out for a little bit. And that's weird. Now it's like playing dead. Very odd. They're weird. They're weird in the day. They're nocturnal fish, but you can see its white belly really clear right now. And you can see those ginormous eyes. And so next to my finger, they're 2 to 3 inches. It says everywhere online that they're 2 inches. I have two of the adults are definitely not. If a credit card is 2.25, I think, or 2 1/8 of an inch, that's just to the start of their tail. So, but I don't like them being in the sunlight like this. I'm sure they're uncomfortable and they're like playing dead defensively. So let's try to get it to move, and it'll spaz out and run away. Oh, it's gone. It went behind there. And same with this guy. He's been in the corner, and I don't know if he's sick or just stressed, but I kind of want to get him gently. Yeah, see, he shouldn't be so chill as to just get in the net like that. That's not a good sign. But I want to kind of move them around. And then also, I've read that they have extreme variables in what they live in water-wise. So I want the power head focusing on them, blowing oxygenated water from the hang off the back and from the other filter. It doesn't let me play with the aperture on Facebook Live, but you can see they kind of like to hang out in the water with their mouth open, and they hold on with little hook fins, and then they eat like little krill and plant matter that blows by. I've noticed that already. So they must wedge themselves with their little spines on their arms and on their back. And then it's been reported that the way they breed is by laying eggs in tight crevices. So I put dragonstone in here for them. They've rearranged stuff already. Like this sand was all even and you couldn't see rock. And from them burrowing into it spastically, they've rearranged that. This one is so skinny compared to the other ones, and I don't know if that's just an age thing or whatever, but yeah, it's really skinny, and he's breathing quickly. So I'm hoping maybe Bodrock or Ted Judy, somebody maybe I can write an email to who's taking care of these guys. But there was a person in Germany who bred them, and these ones are different from all the other ones I've seen on YouTube videos. I've seen one other YouTube video with these guys, and they all have white dots, at least one up by their dorsal fin and up here. And so this is maybe a variant of that species, but recently I read an article translated from German that these guys live farther up, right on the border of Colombia, and that they are probably a different species because, one, they're more fragile. They're really hard to take care of, apparently, and keep alive. And two, they are really spastic, and they have a spine. So that spine on the back, I think, is what got me yesterday. And let's see how it's doing today. I'm trying to see. Yeah, it's fine today. Oh yeah, thanks, Jade Shrimp Granny. Yeah, hit that like button if you haven't yet. If you enjoy this, if you don't, then don't worry about it. You can see the other cat actually thinks it's hidden under a leaf, And they're probably so screwed up from 3 days of like being in Colombia where the time, and in the rainforest where the time's different, and then being on a plane and all scared, and then being in cars and then getting here. So this guy, I don't know if he's just like collapsed out of exhaustion, but let me try to get that eye, because the eye is amazing. You know that they have crazy good sight, just like a cat, because of the way their eye reflects. And I'm kicking myself that I don't have a way to look it up, but somebody could look up what the name of the surface in a cat's eye is. But basically, when it's round, you've got an eye like this. So pretend this by my fingers is the like the open part of the eye. So you're looking at the eye sideways. The back part, the curved part of my hand, is made out of like luminescent stuff, and then it causes it to reflect through the eye, hit the back, then hit the front, this part of the curve, and then that reflects to an angle here, which then hits here and then goes back to here and then goes to the nerve that processes it. So it allows them 4 times to process light of different frequencies. Also, they have these ones, which the other ones I've seen on film don't have. They've got, and it's hard to see here, but they've got a little whisker that it comes back as long as their fin, and they tuck it up under their body and they don't bring it out unless they're swimming. But at night I noticed that they had that whisker and they feel the ground in front of them with it. Like they reach it out ahead, and it's really interesting. So these are my little mini orcas. I really hope I can keep them alive. It's hard when you import stuff. Tapetum lucidium. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much, James. That is the name of the membrane in their eye. And cats have it too. You'll know that glow. You just can't see it on film, but they've got that cat's eye glow. Like I can see it right now. And their eye glows this gold color that's like sparkly, like new bar of gold color, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so there's one back there chilling, there's one here, and then there's another one that's burrowed under this rock. So yeah, I'm getting that water to look like tea. I did a water change last night. Ooh, can you see the gold? Kind of. That's about all you're gonna get. So then in here, I was trying to think if I missed anything. Oh, and those guys are full grown. So these guys are full grown. He is full length. I don't know if he has worms, so I'm working on all that with levamisole or levamisole, however you want to say it. But he is the shorter of them, and he's almost exactly as wide as a credit card. The other ones are probably that much bigger, but they're twice as bulky and maybe 50% as tall too. So they're probably 2.5 or 3 times heavier, and they've got such a cute little pot belly. I love it. But at night, they're not these like just sitting there type things. They're like, they move this quick, and then they're done. They've hit whatever they're gonna hit. They eat a shrimp in half. I noticed they've been eating my shrimp in here. Like there's one up there on the rock. They'll bite it, and somehow they bite it and they just leave just the head, just like humans eating shrimp. And so they eat just like the tail of the shrimp. It must taste better. And then any fish sleeping fits right into their mouth. That mouth opens up about 3 times as wide as it is just resting. And you can see those sensory organs. It's got 2 little nodules on the top of its head. You can see them up by its snout. And then it's got 3 more. It's kind of an odd number. It's got 3 more also. And then it's got sensors on the end of its fin. If you look really closely, you can kind of see it looks rough. Those are actually little bumps. So it feels with its fin, locks itself. The power heads are going this way right now. Locks itself in and holds on for whatever's coming down river. Plus it can ambush at night. So the light's not on in this tank, but it is getting sunlight. I figured that even nocturnal fish need to know when it's daylight. This guy's got to be sick. It's as I'm thinking about it in my head, like he's got to be not doing well. So hopefully, I've been feeding him bloodworms, been feeding them spirulina, and clearly feeding them. They want my shrimp, so I'll keep giving them my shrimp, even though that's expensive. Also, by the way, my Pleco couple is doing pretty well. I'm hopefully getting some more from Alyssa. I hurt my back yesterday, and so I didn't go pick them up. But she's got longfin green dragons, and it's always surprising to me where they get themselves into. This is a 5-inch long green dragon Pleco, and he's in a little coconut hide for like an epistogramme, and he's just wrapped all the way around the little coconut hide. And you can see what a mess they make. So I need to clean this tank because plecos and catfish are messy. The female's probably somewhere over here. I don't know. She's probably under that rock. All right, so we're going to take a look at my big tank upstairs real quick. Any more questions, I'm happy to answer. Let's see if I missed anything. So it's kind of exciting to know that I have a fish that doesn't have a Latin name and hasn't been discovered as far as science is concerned. Tell that to the local Amerindians in southern and Central America, and they will probably laugh at you. They probably know exactly what all of them are and exactly what they eat and live and all that. Redacted XX, hello, good to see you. Flip it around, you don't need to see my mug, so flipping it around. This tank, when I did that tour of Bentley's place, I got this cutting of a Limnophilia, or maybe it was a Ludwigia. Man, I'm bad. I get an awesome plant for free, and I'm like, oh, I can't remember the name. I got these guys in the tank right now. There's 2 of them plus 2 more. Really, you should have more. Also, my boost is finally doing better. It was looking really mangled until I put it under. This is Blue Ghost Brownie, and it's doing better now that it's under a ledge. I have at least 3 buried shrimp. Can you tell me about how the eggs look throughout gestation? I'm wondering about egg colors and stuff like that. I have some with yellow eggs and some with white. Okay, so yeah, totally, Jess, Shrimp Granny. If you go back, and I'm not saying this to dismiss you, I'll still answer your question, but if you go back and look at my videos, I have one on the 4 stages of shrimp pregnancy. And I talk about it a little bit there. But let's talk about color, because I don't know if I touch on that so much. So the shrimp egg color seems to be random and genetic. Yellow shrimp tend to have yellow, green, or white eggs. Red shrimp and like cherry reds and stuff like that tend to have either yellow or white usually. Now, if they have a green fuzzy color, that is egg rot, and it's a fungus or a bacteria. And yeah, HC Aqua, let's call it Centromochlus orchidae. I can't talk today. Orcadidae. Fine, we'll call it that. There isn't one that is being called that, but it has the white stripes, the white spots on its back, so it bugs me. And this dealer is not a widespread dealer that I got it from. So it's like, I don't know, his family or some Yankee hookup probably that he gets them through. So, not Steve who owns aquariums, and he's rad. He just has the wholesale license and import stuff for me. But I'm also working on water testing and looking at different microflora and fauna so that I can know which tank water not to start new tanks with or start new tanks with. So like if I'm starting a fry, oh, I forgot to show you guys this. So sorry, we're going back downstairs. It's going to get blurry or whatever while we're going down the stairs and the internet sucks down here. But I'm going to be starting some new breeding projects just because why not? So I set this up. There is knitting mesh here. When it's filled with water, it'll even out. But a gap for eggs to fall, and then there's 3 chambers. Big Tex Tanks, how's it going, brother? Welcome. So yeah, there's 3 chambers here. There's a 4-gallon, a 10-gallon, a 6-gallon that I didn't have a tip or a caulking gun or anything, so it sucked. The tube was drying up, and I literally used a corner of this stuff to try to spread it, and it worked functionally, but it just looks like garbage. But I don't think the fish are going to say anything about it, and they're in their secured place well. So for breeding, they're not going to have any decorations. They're going to be ugly tanks anyways, but that'll be for a later day. Also, still chilling here, moved a little bit farther back, but and isn't breathing quite as quickly, which is good. So I'm hoping they just are lame and resting in the day. The big plump one back there is exactly under a Java fern leaf. It's recommended, from what I've read, for all the Tatia, honeycomb, or oil slick, or oil spill, whatever you want to call them, woodcats. It's recommended to have bigger plants, Anubias, big hardy plants, or stuff that grows fast that you don't care about. All right, so let's see here. There's a question about what the heck? What the heck? There was a question. What's the plant by the right front rock? It's on the left side, and the leaves have a cascading look. So left side. Leaves have a cascading look. This guy here? Or let's see, what else could it be? I'm assuming that's it. No, oh, right side. This one? That's the limnophilia that, or maybe, gosh, sorry, I'll have to look up what that one is. Yeah, I love that plant. And it looks even more red in real life with you when you have CO2 on it. Like, this is like blood red, almost mahogany color to my eye in real life, and this is closer to like a cherry red mixed with yellow, and it is beautiful. I have one clipping of it. I think it's related to Limnophilia aromatica. Limnophilia aromatica is this one here, and it's a rare one that Bentley has, but if you ask me again, I'll look it up and try to commit it to memory, because I wanted to know anyways. Then these ones back here that are red, they probably look golden to you guys, but they kind of have a cool look, and I need to trim them already. Those are Ludwigia x lacustris. They're a wild hybrid. This is Ludwigia arculata. I got a lot of Ludwigias in here. And then Pogostemon erectus back there, and up here I've just been trimming it to make the top wider and wider. And then Hydrocaudal is starting to carpet along with Microsword. And then some mermaid weed is growing in there too. The only thing is, this one plant is growing, it's an ocelot, a red flame ocelot fern, and I think the water's not warm enough, but it's just growing black beard, and so I'm gonna probably take it out of there. Also, I got some giant willow moss, and it's growing just in these weird long chains, and haven't really trimmed it yet because I'll let it grow long, and then I'll cut the chains up into like 10 pieces and replant them all together, but kind of fun. Roger, welcome. So then we got this tank, the big tank, and they want food. These guys don't, what kind of rocks? So those rocks I cored myself. They're from the Cascade mountain range, and they are known as Oso Jade. Yeah, and they're actually basically originally igneous, turned into metamorphic by the volcanic range there, rock, and they have bands of true jade, and then the rest of them is a jadeite / bands of quartzite mix. Whereas we've got granite here and quartzite, and then this is basalt from Eastern Washington that I picked up that's like full on from the lava field. That's diorite, which is a form of granite quartzite compound. Then back there I've got some petrified wood, and the gravel is just stream gravel. Here, actually, this is a funky one. So I have, it looks like granite or something, but it's not. It's a composite conglomerate, and that's calcite in there, and that was to give enough hardness for the Neocaridina shrimp that were in there. But this is actually like a siltstone sedimentary compound that has bands of limestone and calcification calcite in it. So yeah, and then this is crazy to me. This doesn't have a bulb. This was a cutting, and it's just this little pinpoint, and it's going nuts. These leaves are growing up to the top in a day, so that means they're not getting enough light, and it also means that it's probably going to send up a blooming bud really soon, and then it'll bloom into this beautiful purple plant that is mildly hallucinogenic / mildly intoxicating, and legal, but extracting the stuff is not. So in here we got a bunch of male guppies hanging out. You on the last live cast you saw when this guy got that injury. It seems like when I film, they basically get ripped apart. Jess Shrimp Granny, you want one of one of these lilies? These lilies are rad. So I've got the lily there. I've got the lily over there. There's one, and then I've got, I think, 3 starts over here because Lucas Bretz really wants one, and I got mine for $30. Here's the largest you'll ever see a red ruby tetra, by the way. Yeah, the male gudgeon is still an SOB, and he is still there. I added more of the. So this guy is from Lucas's. It's called Nymphea micrantha. This, which is, if you look up other lilies and stuff, you'll find it. But it's sometimes referred to as a lotus or a lily. Usually a lily, but it's known as like a Southern Egyptian, Sudanese, or Egyptian, or Nile, or White Nile. White Nile, purple lotus or purple lily. If you find the blue variant, which is the mythical one that was like an aphrodisiac and hallucinogen, and they made wine out of it and stuff, yeah, you'll learn about them. But this one in particular has this crazy metallic color to it that you're not seeing at this angle. But go back to my other videos and you'll see instances of it growing and looking insane. It's just so beautiful. It's like this purple that's unimaginable. You can't film how cool the purple is. But yeah, so all my tanks up here are a little full right now. Also, the naja grass is going insane. I don't know why. This is a pad from the same lily. Also, I did a video on this lily, so you can go back, Shrimp Granny. This goes for everyone. I have a lot of videos, and since YouTube won't let me monetize, those videos aren't making money for YouTube. And so some of them, when I had like 400 followers, have like 200 views, and you have to go manually to my channel and scroll way back in the playlists or in the videos. I have like 200 videos or something, and go look for the ones that you're interested in. Some of the very first ones are a little rough. I didn't know how to work things as well, and this channel's still a little rough, but I like to just update you with what I'm doing. So this is a Lucas Bretz Rainbow Tiger Endler F1, as in it is the top of its grade, exactly what he wants that breed to look like, and I happened to luck out and get it. You can't buy these from him really, and so all these females are in here. I'm trying to breed more of them, along with my leopard Endler strain, which came from his tiger Endler strain 6 generations ago. These are neon green Raphoras, gold ring Danios, and then this we've determined is another species of Danio. So It looks just like the gold ring. Daniel has a gold ring around its eye, but its fins are bright purple and mahogany. And I've talked about that several times. Finally got a hold of an ichthyologist friend. Like, check out these fins. They're like beautiful purple and red translucent fins. And its eye even has like bronze and silver rather than the gold that you see on these other ones. I only have 3 of them, and I don't know their sexes. But I want to try to breed those downstairs. So that's one thing I'm breeding. All the meteor minnows, these red guys, they're going outside soon. I think it's warm enough finally. But I got these guys, and they're supposed to just be wild caught, or not wild caught, but wild bred, like in a big pond in Florida or whatever. And you spelled it right just from hearing it? Yeah. Good job. Rad. That is rad. Try to extract things from it if I get on. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm just reading, guys. Yeah, the gudgeon back in the other tank, he is a punk, and I don't like him, and I want to get rid of him. So, if anybody wants a gudgeon, free gudgeons. His wife can go too. He just hangs out here, and he's got these evil eyes. They're just like soulless. Whoa, there's a lot of algae growing in here overnight. I'll have to get that SAE out of the other tank. So these, hey Patricia, you always come at the end of the stream, but I love to see you, so welcome. Back here we've got Tucano rainbow, or Tucano tetras. Sorry guys. They have like a yellow and red kind of golden sunset underneath their flesh look. And other than that, they look like black neon tetras, kind of, except for they don't have the blue fins and the tan stripe along with the other stripe. But I have 2 of them in here. They don't know that they're not black neon tetras, because I've got 12 black neon tetras in here. And they don't know the difference, but they are on the market. Usually they're $20 a pop. And I don't know why exactly, but I had a deal while I was trading some of the same stone that I quarried, and I used some of that credit to get some of the fish I have. So some of the fish are just like, I wouldn't usually spend my money on it, but I'll get something, I'll get something interesting for the channel. So I try to get something new every couple weeks or every week, and then trade out something old. Here's another female rainbow fish. That's probably the mom of the one downstairs. The father passed away months ago, so she's full grown, and she thinks she's a orange-eyed lemon tetra. Also, these are kind of interesting. Most lemon tetras look kind of lame. These guys have an eye that looks just like a Pokeball, if you've seen Pokemon. I didn't know what a Pokeball was, and then somebody sent me like 5 different pictures of it, and I was like, well, I'll be darned. And yeah, their eyes is 1/2 to 3/4 red. It gets more red as they get older. And then they're really cool because in this tank, it's big enough. And if you had like a 75-gallon or something, it'd be even better. But if you put landmarks in, like that stick, those 2 are hanging out on different levels of the same stick. And these guys are, these are gals. These are females here. That guy is the alpha male. And the other ones will do what he says, essentially. But the other guys will pick territories, and they set themselves up on the territories, like the sticks, like there and there where those guys are, and they will joust. So when you're not around, I'm probably influencing them too much here, but they'll go from the one corner all the way, and then another one in this corner, and they'll come at each other, and they'll play a game of chicken, and they pull away at the last second and bash their face on the glass sometimes inadvertently. But it's really kind of cool to watch. And then they swirl around in this thing. It looks like a choreographed knife fight out of West Side Story. Yeah. So, what's up, brother? Pro Tim Aquatics. Hello. To everybody on here with the channel, totally, I encourage everybody to check out each other's channels, like Pro Tim Aquatics, HC Aqua. I'm trying to think who else is on here right now that I know has channel. But let's support each other. You know, that's how we grow the hobby. So if you have a channel, you can comment, and then people will know right now. Heather Nielsen, she has Scarlet Aquatics. Check that out. But yeah, I mean, let's be friendly to each other. Let's help each other get likes and subs and all that good stuff because it helps the hobby. I mean, right now, I'm getting like I want to say about 150,000 to 200,000 minutes of viewing a week. And if that were monetized, I would be making something like, I don't know, 20 or 40 bucks a month or something like that at most. And so it's not that great anyways, but they haven't monetized it. And if you guys see ads on my channel, tell me because that makes me really frustrated that they're running ads and they won't monetize me. I don't care about the monetization for anything other than the fact that it doesn't let me get my videos out to people. And as the channel grows and I spend like 20 hours on some history hour-long video, like what the L numbers mean in Pleco, or visiting somebody's fish room where I take the whole day to do it, and then, you know, whatever. It gets frustrating because after a week of it being available on the search engine, it kind of gets buried and not recommended because it doesn't make money for YouTube. And so that part about being not monetized and them still being overloaded or whatever, I mean, you can't email them. So it's like a ridiculous issue. Here's the big Pulcher crib. So this is a crib that is the Pulcher variety of the cribensis. That was a big male. He's the biggest fish in the tank. He's 5 inches probably. He's a chunky one. But he's pretty, and he hides down in the cave a lot of the time. And he's kicked the gudgeons out, which makes me laugh because the gudgeons can live in this rock, and they have, and they've spawned in this rock several times. So yeah, lay off, gudgeons. But you can see the females hang out in this corner, and they watch the males. So these two subdominant males will be sparring. This is the big male kind of guarding his horde. But they'll color up into a nice orange color and they spar. I don't keep mystery snails. I am not opposed to keeping some. Somebody might. Geez, looks like I'm gonna find out if those catfish eat crane flies because apparently every crane fly in Washington decided to die inside my house last night. Weird. But yeah. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here pretty soon. Here's a couple more of Lucas's Neocaridina. They're incredible. Go on Real Fish Talk. You'd be excellent guest in your opinion, Rod asks. Hey, Rod, if you feel that way, and I've been told that a lot of times, please, please, please write to Corey or Joel Corvus. And let them know that. We all live literally in the same city, and we kind of do our own things. And I know Corey kind of has the rule of the roost with Aquarium Co-op, but I would love that. And I love working with other folks, Waterbox, PecTech, Lucas Bretz. They're all people I want to do stuff with. I've already done stuff with Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tanks. We went and toured stuff. So I would really enjoy that. I'm a hobbyist that doesn't have a lot of money to do extravagant like giant tanks and stuff, but the history and the little secret things in the storytelling of the tanks, I have a lot to say and a lot to explore and to learn from everyone else. And like I love learning from other folks. So well, give them a ring because I've asked if they wanted to collaborate in the past. And in the past, Corey was always just too busy. Even though I go to Aquarium Co-op, I shop at their store. But, you know, they're busy dudes. They were in Germany, wherever. But, yeah, if you guys would like to see that, I'd like it to happen. I've extended the offer, you know, a while back. But, yeah, I want to focus. When my channel becomes monetized, I will be focusing more on history, because then those videos will stay in the circulation and people can enjoy them. Because I've had people say, I can't even find your video searching for it. It's like buried under a million other videos that are not related from, like, you know, ancient alien history, like tags and stuff, like that are like, are fish really aliens? And like the history of ancient fish aliens. And like for some reason, when you search for the history of endlers, that will pop up first, and you have to scroll 20 pages before you find mine because it's not monetized yet. So hopefully when that happens, like, I hate to say that I'm like holding back, because I put one out a week that is history and there's a playlist of history. But scroll back through my videos, and I put, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours into researching some of this. And I like to brush up on it when I'm getting names, dates, and species and stuff together for a project like this or for a video. But yeah, let the folks know that you'd like to see me chat with them, and I would highly enjoy that as well. So that's all I can say is the people will be heard. You can email them at info@Aquarium Co-op for Corey. And then I'm not sure the best way to get a hold of Joel. We're friends on Facebook, and so I chat to him through that. But also, a mono shrimp, these guys are huge. They're like 1.5 inches or more. I had a cherry shrimp that size once that was just like the ruler of the tank. But yeah, so I'm going to wind this down. So I'm having, oh, we got a question. I'm always going to answer a question before I leave. So I'm having a pest snail problem. How would you get rid of them? Do assassin snails eat snail eggs? No, they don't. But if you got a Corydoras, that would eat the eggs. Shrimp will eat the eggs. Any sort of catfish will eat the eggs. Hungry guppies will eat the eggs sometimes. They're really hard to get through because of the gooiness of them. But depending on the snail, I'm assuming it's bladder snails or pond snails that you're having an issue with. It's a good sign that you're probably feeding maybe a little too much or not cleaning the food that you are feeding right away. I've got ram's horns in here that I did not introduce, and then I also do have some of those pond snails, but they take care of themselves. This is the only snail I put in there intentionally, and it's a beautiful red ram's horn with an opal shell. My shrimp do a terrible job at eating eggs. So did my guppies. Yeah, so good. Cutting down on the feeding. And then the other thing is, if you have a lot of dead leaves and stuff, that's what they're going to be eating a lot of too. So if you do have that, they'll eventually like die back just from the feeding and the eggs. But in the meantime, an assassin snail is a pretty effective way to get rid of anything this size or bigger, like pea size or bigger. But they take a little while, and then you got a bunch of assassin snails if you buy a bunch, and then they turn on each other. And so it's kind of just decide if you want them or not. But that's definitely one way to go about it. Assassin snails do work over time, and with the food and maybe 3 or 4 assassin snails, you're going to see a huge reduction in them sooner or later. Also, if I'm having an issue and I see a big mound of eggs on the side of the tank, I'll use this tool and I'll scrape it right off, and I'll just either smush the eggs as hard as I can against the glass with a little spatula, or I'll try to scrape it off. Or if it's just on one leaf, I'll pull the leaf and take it and toss it, because they can be insidious. And I've had them blow up for no reason that I can figure, other than like maybe the water temperature changed and it was a signal to them or something, but it wasn't food. So I understand those things do happen for other reasons. Yeah, so that's my advice on them. Yeah, that's all I've got. Sorry, I don't have something a little more profound, but it's one of those things that takes time. You can also smash them if you have something that will eat them right away. So instead of feeding, I've stopped feeding sometimes, and I'll just smash snails if you are not if you don't have a weak stomach for hurting animals, I suppose. For me, I don't have a problem smushing snails, especially when there's like 150 of them in a tank. But I'll smush them, and then the fish will eat them. Oh, you don't have any fish to eat them. Okay, yeah, just pull them back, cut back on the feeding. Within a couple weeks, you'll see a difference. If you really want to get rid of them, throw in an assassin snail, put one in, so you can keep track of it and then just pull it out when you're done and give it back or give it to someone or whatever. That's what I would suggest. But I do keep a good number of snails in all my tanks just because they usually do help eat. Like if a fish dies and, I've got quite a few fish in all my tanks. I like to keep my tanks heavily planted and full of fish. And basically, they die. So, and you don't get to them when a tank's like this. You don't know exactly, oh, I've got 14 erythromicrons. After a year after you buy them, it becomes, oh, I don't know, maybe 12, 10. I don't know what I have. Try to count them all at once, and it's just kind of a guess. But one can throw off pH and that sort of stuff if it sits in there and decomposes. So in that case, it's good to have like plecos, snails, cory cats. I always, in almost all my tanks, unless it's a species tank, I will put something that hangs out in the bottom, something that eats algae and dead stuff, something that's midwater, some shrimp, and something that's topwater. I think that's a great way to go. That has kept the this tank in check, and this tank is always really healthy for me. And it's real tall. It's extra tall, as people know who watch the channel. It's 28 inches instead of 24. And so, because it's a weird size, it's like 41 gallons or something custom. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end on that note. Let's see here. It looks real sunny outside still, so I might catch some light from this sunny day. You can take a look at the chat and make sure I don't have any last minute questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Feel free to like, share. If you want to support the channel, there's always the Patreon links. And then also, when you buy something from Aquatic Arts and use the code Secret Shrimp, all caps, and the number 10, all together, no spaces. And when you buy something from Flip that is history with a capital H, and then the number 10 at the end, you get 10% off both those places. I have not personally bought from Imperial Tropicals. I know other people who have. I haven't heard anything bad or amazing about them. So I can't say much about it, but I can look into it if that's a question lingering in your mind. There's so many places. Imperial is a big one, though. Imperial, 5, what is it, 5D, 5D, and Seagrass, they're all huge. So Seagrass is the biggest and imports like 80% of the fish that are coming in. Thank you so much, Patricia. Yeah, if you guys missed out at the beginning, the little mini orcas are swimming around. I disturbed them for you guys. One looks really stressed and hopefully not sick. He could have worms or something just from the wild, so I'm treating him for all that, getting the pH down and all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love the community that we have here in the live stream. Go back out, check out my old videos. There's a lot of informational stuff in there that I worked hard on, just as hard as I'm working now. But it gets buried, like I said. So check it out. If you have a question that you want to ask me, maybe look through my past videos first, and there's some good stuff in there, that I worked to put together. So even if the filming's kind of shaky and the camera wasn't as good, but you guys are the reason why my camera gets better, the software gets better. Maybe I'll start editing more, music or whatever, I don't know. And just cooler stuff around the house, because once I get my baseline, like the fish are paid for and the electric bill are paid for, if I can get to that point, then it becomes the hobby. I can just expand it rather than maintain it. And working as an artist and a graphic designer, I also do commission work. So you can check out somainkdesigns.com, and ink with a K, and also somaink.com, SOMAINK.com, and you can see my art there, or on Instagram. You can find me all over, but I'm going to do some more aquatic art coming up here soon, because I have some requests coming up, and I just finished up some corporate graphic design stuff that's boring, that I'd rather do other art for less money. So thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your fish. You guys are all special and important, even if it's just taking care of your fish and you know that it's more than that, but you matter to somebody. You matter to me. Thank you for watching. Have an excellent night, and I'll talk to you guys later. Swim on. Oh, and I will post the info in the links as the stream loads. I'll do some of my info to my other sites. I'll also post info to the codes to the discount stuff. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.